Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday, January 19th edition of studentloanjustice.org. So there's a lot going on right now, folks. Our opposition is hitting us hard. The current argument being lobbied against us is that student loan cancellation will unduly benefit the wealthy. And this is wrong. And we just published a paper describing exactly why this is just completely and totally wrong. And I went through this last night. I'll just go through it quickly again. It's the wealthiest borrowers, in other words, the highest income student loan borrowers, they're not young kids out of college with medical degrees. There are a few of those for sure, but the wealthiest, highest earning borrowers are older people. They're over the age of 35, they're over the age of 50. People over the age of 35 hold something like 2/3 of all student loan debt. So a little bit less than that, but that is why there's a lot of people that earn a lot of money and have student loans. And it's not like a lot of money. It's just the highest 20%, the highest quintile in earnings. They're older people. They're older people who have been stuck with these loans for many, many years. I strongly recommend you today. In fact, the one action two actions. First action that I'm going to ask you to do today is go to our Medium site. We just published an article which blows that argument against us out of the water. It changes the whole entire narrative on the student loan problem. Truly, it does. It's very important that we get this article out there. You know, we can't count necessarily on the mainstream media to report this important truth. So it's really up to us to get this. Is the very top article that you will see on that page, studentloanjustice.medium.com. Get that where it needs to go. Retweet it, Facebook, Instagram, all those platforms. Get it out there. Take 5 minutes to get it out into the zeitgeist. It's really important for us, folks. This is the battle. These are your loans, and we need your help. We're not going to get anywhere without your help. That has always been true, and it's more true today than it's ever been because our opposition is fighting very hard. They are freaked out right now. They know what I know, and what I know is that this lending system is dead. But they make their living off this lending system, so it is their job to save it. And that is what they are. That is exactly what they're trying to do. So, yeah, guys, please do that. By the way, if you have any comments or questions, throw them out. If I can see them on either Facebook or Twitter, I will gladly respond to them. So yeah, this week, our bill that will return bankruptcy protections to federal student loans is absolutely critically important. We're fighting for loan cancellation. Make no mistake. This lending system is done. These loans must be canceled. But the cruel truth is that we will not see meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. We've seen this lending program unfold over 17 years now. And I can tell you that the one common denominator in everything is the fact that student loans, unlike all other loans, are uniquely non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. But the threat of bankruptcy has got to be on our side. Think about it this way. There are 45 million federal student loan borrowers in the country. Something like 40, maybe 41 of them are losing sleep over their loans. They're either not paying or they weren't paying. Over half were not paying before the pandemic. Far less than half are going to resume paying when May 1st rolls around. They turn the lending system back on. So think about May 1st and ask yourself this question. Do you want to face, and if you're like most people, you will not be resuming paying on your student loans come May 1st. Now, just think about it. Do you want to face May 1st with the power of bankruptcy, whether you would ever or never file? Do you want to face May 1st with that power, the power of bankruptcy, back on your side? Or would you rather it remains gone and that you remain sort of naked, vulnerable, and afraid come May 1st? Yeah, I think it's probably that first thing. So, but folks, again, we're not going, as long as bankruptcy remains gone, the only loan cancellation we're going to see from President Biden, it will be fake. It will be this up to $50,000 or up to $10,000 nonsense. We've seen that movie before over 17 years. As long as bankruptcy is gone, we will not see any meaningful student loan cancellation. With the threat of bankruptcy returned, President Biden is going to have to cancel loans widely, broadly, deeply, and perhaps totally. You know, in an average year, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason. Well, I think the threat of 20, 25, 30 million people flooding the bankruptcy courts, like to the point of seizure, that will be more than enough to compel the Department of Education to finally begin to widely and broadly cancel student loans. So bankruptcy, it's what we've fought for very moderately, I think, for the first 15 or so years of our existence. It is more important now than ever. And don't believe anybody who says, no, bankruptcy is terrible. You know, a lot of people, including our opposition, including the bad people who are freaking out right now, they would love for you to think, oh, no, bankruptcy's, that's not what we want. Bankruptcy is a terrible thing to do. It sucks filing for bankruptcy. No. We want loan cancellation. So no, forget bankruptcy. We don't want bankruptcy. That is exactly what our opposition, the collection industry, everybody in Washington, D.C. nearly, that's what they want you to think. Don't give them the pleasure. The truth of the matter is the opposite of that. We will not see meaningful student loan cancellation until and unless we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. And that is just true. I don't know why the other student loan activist groups seem to be unwilling to acknowledge that. Quite frankly, it's beyond disturbing to me. They need to rethink themselves. And if they truly want to see loans canceled, they should be joining us in fighting for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. So why they don't, you'll have to ask them. Let them defend themselves. I know at least one group in the zeitgeist that's been around for a while. We found very close ties with the collection industry too. So yeah, guys, don't be fooled. Do not be fooled. And just think about it as a practical matter. What do you think Joe Biden is likely to do if he's even going to cancel any loans? He's going to do up to $10,000 or $10,000, or he's going to do this up to 50 at the most. He's going to do up to $50,000. Up to $50,000 could mean anything, ladies and gentlemen. And in the absence of bankruptcy protections, it will absolutely mean nothing. So, you know, bankruptcy sucks. It's a terrible thing to have to do, but there is no more important constitutional right for a borrower than the threat of bankruptcy. And the student loan exception to the wisdom of the founders, the student loan violation of the spirit, certainly, and arguably even the letter, I would argue strongly the letter of the Constitution, proves their wisdom in spades. So guys, it's not sexy. It's not, nobody wants to run out in the middle of the street and shake their fist and say, yeah, give us our bankruptcy rates back. But guys, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So yeah, I don't know how much stronger I can put it. So that article that I said, that Medium article, yes, indeed, it is just so important. But more than that, guys, and I'm looking for your comments now, by the way, if I seem distracted, that's what I'm doing. So we've got to get our bankruptcy rights back. The bill that we have in the Senate right now will do that. It will return bankruptcy to federal student loans with a 10-year waiting period. So it's not great. The debt has to be more than 10 years old. But guys, this is the bill that will finally crack that egg for us. And we've got to get S2598 passed. Everybody with student loans within the sound of my voice needs to be fighting with everything they got for S2598. The thing that is really going to help that bill right now for us is going to be getting Republican senators to co-sponsor that bill. Right now, we have two. We're off to a very good start. John Cornyn and Josh Hawley out of Missouri are co-sponsored on the bill. So we're off to a great start, guys, and I'm very happy about that. But we need more. We absolutely need more. So please, if you forget everything that I said tonight, remember at least to go to our website and call both of your senators tomorrow. If you have one or both being Republican, well, that's even better. Call them both. Also, go to, again, our website, and if you look at the daily action on our website, if you go to the daily action on our website and do certainly the most recent daily action, but go back at least a week and do a week's worth of our daily. They're very easy, by the way. It's like Twitter stuff. It's not hard. It's very simple. It's easy to do. And we're getting very strong, guys. We have over 1 million people on our petition now. We've got 20,000 people on our Facebook group. We've got probably 100,000 people across our other platforms. That's a huge muscle that we have to flex. But guys, I'm telling you, I am here to tell you that is meaningless unless everybody in this group does a little bit to pull their weight. These daily actions literally take seconds to do. Everybody should be getting into daily action of doing these daily actions. The daily habit of doing these. You should, whether or not you made New Year's resolutions, you should make a late New Year's resolution to do our daily actions on a daily basis. It is so important. It's what's going to win this battle for us. The other groups, they can call for loan cancellation and plead to the Democrats all day long, and they will, and they are, and that's exactly what they're doing, and that's great. I'm glad that they are. But guys, the Democrats are not going to solve this for us. It's got to be a bipartisan thing. It's going to have to be, because the Democrats have shown what they're willing to do, and what they're willing to do is this up to $50,000 bullshit, and that's the highest they're going to go. So it does us no good to preach to the choir. We have to go into the lion's den. That's what we do here on this group. We are unafraid. We are very bold. We go to the Steve Bannons of the world, to the Newt Gingriches of the world, to the Larry Summers of the world. We go into the conservative den and we make a very conservative argument. This is a big government, college enriching, some would argue socialistic, but we're a nonpartisan group. We don't take it that seriously. Suffice it to say, we have a very conservative argument to make here, guys. And it does us no good sitting on the sidelines, eating popcorn, waiting, watching, reading the flood, the avalanche of oppositional media that is being launched against us and doing nothing. It does no good for you to do nothing. It does no good for you to sit there and wait and watch and worry and read the headlines and do nothing, okay? Don't do that. In fact, shame on you if that's what you're doing. We need your help. We need your actual help. We need Republican co-sponsors on our bill, S2598. So go to our website, click on the Call Your Senators thing tomorrow and do that. Second thing, go to our website, click on the daily actions and do at least the past week worth of daily actions. They're quick. It's Twitter stuff. It'll take seconds. Not hard. We need you to. These are your loans. This is your problem. Please don't forget that. So, I'm having problems seeing all the comments here on both Twitter and Facebook. So I apologize for that. This happens from time to time. Let's see here. I'm going to give it one last shot on Facebook. Oh, wait, I might be able to see it. We're in a great position, guys. By the way, I don't want to make you feel like it's an unclimbable mountain or whatever. It's not. We got this. We're in the best position we've ever been in, ladies and gentlemen. 2 years ago, we were nowhere. We were nowhere on bankruptcy. We were less than nowhere on student loan cancellation. It is this group that launched the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the zeitgeist. I kid you not. We started the petition and did the very first article that even mentions student loan cancellation by executive order back in August 2019. That started here with this group. I kid you not. We are a far more important player in this game than you might imagine. We would not have a bankruptcy bill to fight for, but for the efforts of so many people on this group. So we're kind of the pioneers, guys. And believe it or don't, I really don't care. But everything I've said tonight is the truth. It's the important truth. And if you think that Joe Biden is going to magically wake up one day and cancel all student loans without the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, you're dreaming. He's not going to do that. I know Joe Biden. I followed Joe Biden all over Iowa for a year and a half. I've researched Joe Biden very carefully. Hey, I finally see a couple comments here. Michael Cheney says, Rob Portman. Good point, Michael. You know, the state of Ohio is a very important state for us. Federal student loan debt outweighs the entire Ohio state budget. That's federal student loan debt alone. Ohio is being wrecked by student loan debt. Absolutely wrecked. Rob Portman should absolutely be co-sponsoring S2598. Why is he not? Another thing that you might do, if you go to our Giphy page, so it's giphy.com/student loan justice. If you go to our Giphy page, or if you go to our Ohio State chapter group, you will see a really slick graphic that we made for the state of Ohio, which says everything that I just said about how Ohioans owe more in student loan debt than the entire state budget. I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend you get that graphic in front of, Sherrod Brown is great, but Rob Portman is the one we need right now. We got to get Republicans, guys. We've got to. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whether you love Rob Portman or whether you hate him, in fact, I'd say even especially if you hate him, that's all the more reason to push him as hard as you can. Don't take no for an answer. Contact Ohio media. We have done that, by the way. We've been, just in the past year, we've been on TV in Cleveland and Columbus and I believe the Plain Dealer, one of the other newspapers. Make that happen. If you care, do it for state pride, if no other reason. And by the way, what I'm saying about Ohio, I could say almost exactly the same thing for Florida, for Texas, for Alabama, for Tennessee, for North and South Carolina, for Missouri, almost for Kansas, almost for Idaho, for Nevada, for Virginia, for Maryland, for South Dakota, for New Hampshire, for Georgia. Georgia's the worst state in the nation, although they don't have any Republican senators. But anyways, governors also, conservative governors also are people who you should be pushing very hard. You know, if we can get even one or two Republican governors in the states of any of the states that I just mentioned, and there's a few others as well, Indiana, the governors of all of those states need to be very concerned that student loan debt exceeds their entire state budget. Oh, thank you, Michael. Michael just posted our Giphy site. Go to our Giphy page, which if you're on Facebook, you can see it below in the comments. Go to our Giphy page, find the cool, slick graphic for your state, and get that graphic to both of your senators and your governor. That's probably the most valuable thing that you can do. And don't be lazy about it. Treat it, put some passion into it. And I hate to tell people, oh, do it like you mean it, because automatically they won't. That's just not going to happen because you asked them to do that. So I almost don't want to say that, but Your loans are on the line here, guys. Your student loan debt, your lives, your life, certainly your livelihood, if not your life. Your livelihood is on the line here. We are the pioneers in this fight, and we are solving this problem as we speak. You can't sit there and wait and watch and spectate. This is not a spectator sport. This is a contact sport. This is a fight. This is your fight. This is a battle. This is your battle. We need you. That's exactly right, Michael. Yeah, you got it right. You got the right link. Michael says, what about contacting our AG? You know, not a huge fan of the Attorney General's offices. Here's what the Attorney General's offices do. They sue lending companies for violations of the law. Now, that's all good and well. Lord knows the student loan companies violate the law quite frequently. So the state attorneys generals, they get these lawsuits going against the lenders or sometimes even the schools. And like we saw last week, they actually reached a settlement whereby Navient canceled $1.85 billion, which sounds like a lot. It's not, but sounds like a lot. Navient canceled $1.85 billion in student loans. So here's the dirty little secret with that particular settlement. First of all, the vast majority of those loans, I suspect strongly, and I'm almost never wrong when I suspect something strongly. The vast majority of those loans, all of them were private, all of them were in default. The vast majority almost certainly were past their statutes of limitations. So legally, those loans that got canceled were garbage, worthless, legally uncollectible paper in the first place. There was a few other federal borrowers, I believe, that came out of that case that are going to or will receive like a check for $260. So, sorry guys, but I'm just not impressed. You know, the student lending companies, they really don't need to break the law to do what they do that is terrible, because they bought the law already. So complaining to your state attorney generals has very limited upside. And this most recent thing that we saw with Navient, that's just a perfect example of that. We've been seeing these attorney general cases come and go and come and go and come and go and come and go for many years, guys. And the formula is the same. Do a lawsuit, string it out for 4, 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years. Finally, you reach a settlement and the band cheers and the confetti falls from the ceiling and the balloons. And all the lawyers that are making money on this deal, they'll tout this as a huge win for borrowers and a step in the right direction. And dude, it's nonsense. It is nonsense. More than anything, these lawsuits, yeah, a couple of nickels for the borrowers, but it's almost never anything meaningful, as it is not in this current case. But what it really does is allows this lending scam to perpetuate further down the road. So sorry, but I'm just not a big fan of the attorneys general. If the attorneys general were to, particularly conservative Republican attorneys general, if they were to stand up one day, maybe hopefully with their governors, and say, President Biden, enough. We will not let our states be conquered and enslaved by this debt. President Biden, cancel these loans immediately, or just return bankruptcy. That's good enough, because the one leads to the other. If they were to do that, then everybody would certainly that would solve this problem, because Republicans everywhere would finally say, oh yeah, we obviously got the student loan thing wrong. That's actually a Republican cause that we should be fighting. And that will change the zeitgeist. That will change everything. Even getting a couple of Republican governors to get together and demand that Biden cancel the loans, that would change. That would be a sea change in the politics of this country. And that, I think that would definitely result not only in everyone stopping payments, and they'd be like, okay, well, if Republican governors are saying it, then yeah, this goose is truly cooked. So yeah, if you want to contact your AGs, I say don't waste your time. Contact your governors first, especially, well, contact your Republican governors first and say, Mr. Governor, how dare you allow our fine state of Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, all those states I mentioned, how dare you let our state be wrecked by the federal government under this unconstitutional, socialistic, if you want to use that word, college enriching, conservatives say they hate colleges, predatory debt scam. Governor, how could you let that happen? This truly is a state sovereignty issue, guys. So that, I think your time is far better spent that way, Michael. In any event, I think it looks like I've gone a little bit long tonight. Guys, I'm in a good mood. We're in the best position we've ever been in. But our opposition is fighting back very, very, very hard right now. And the student loan system is now in its death throes. So do everything you can. I'm going to repeat just last time for tonight. Go to our Medium thing and absolutely get that very tip-top article at our Medium site. Get that around. Paste the link to that or share it or get that out to 15 or 20 organizations, entities, politicians, you name it. You're smart. You've been to college. You can think for yourself. Do that. Second thing, go to studentloanjustice.org. Do our daily actions. It is just so fucking important that everybody do those. Like right now, we're doing a huge Twitter blast on all the senators. And I'm telling you guys, it really works. Their staff actually do pay a lot of attention to the Twitter stuff. The Twitter stuff that you might forward to them is even more powerful if you bring in media of your state. So if you're tweeting to Rob Portman, if you're tweeting to Rob Portman, for example, call out in the same thing where you're writing to him, call out media like the Cleveland Plain Dealer, like there's a whole ton of them. You know the media in your state better than I do. Do that. It helps. It's strong. We need you in this battle. We will lose without you. And don't think that anybody else is going to pull your weight for you, because that never happens, even in a group with over 1 million people. In fact, the bigger a group, the more lazy people want to be. And that is exactly the recipe for disaster. You have no idea how important you are. I'm not kidding. You sitting there. We need you. It could only take one person to get that very first Republican governor to stand up and say, President Biden, cancel these loans. One person could actually make that happen. That could be you. And if it is you, then you pretty much single-handedly solved the student loan problem in the United States. And that's kind of a big deal. So take it seriously, guys, and keep us posted as to your progress along the way. And I will be back on Friday. Ed will be here tomorrow. Very last thing I'll say is please donate if you possibly can. We need to raise $200 this week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for us, it's kind of a lot. It's kind of the difference between paying the light bill and not. So please donate if you could, please. But hang in there and have fun with this fight. We're on the winning side. The Constitution is on our side. The Founding Fathers are on our side. 45 million people, and in fact, 55, if you include private loan borrowers and cosigners, 55 million people are on our side. That's nearly enough to elect a president outright. Don't let the haters get you down. They're going away. And getting that article that I just wrote out there into the zeitgeist is exactly what needs to happen to make them learn. And they will go away when they finally realize how terrible this lending system is. So take heart. We got this. We got a lot of things going for us. Don't be discouraged. That's never worked. That's never gotten anything done for anyone. So anyways, yep. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on Friday, and I'll see you on Thursday. Good luck. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everybody. Let's get this done for all the right reasons.